The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
If you hesitate when someone invites you to a Lubbock area salad bar, you've come to the right place. Texas Tech Sports lives on Double T 97.3.
Salad bar. Okay. I like a good salad bar. Do you like a good salad?
You don't get that one?
I'm going to give you a word, and it's going to help you. Bob.
Bob.
Oh.
Bob. Good word, Jamie?
If you hesitate when you go to the salad bar.
When you're
Bob.
Invited to a Lubbock area salad bar. You got to say Lubbock area.
Lubbock area salad bar.
Bob.
I don't understand what the Bob means.
Night.
Oh, I didn't get that. No, I didn't get it. Oh, that flew right over my head. I thought you guys were thinking about, like, we're not very good eaters of healthy stuff, and that it would be more along the lines of you would be, why would you go to why would you go to a salad bar with this person when you'd rather go to the all-you-can-eat pizza place? You won't see as many of those as you used to.
No, COVID did a really good job of killing them.
Any Red Raider hears the term Lubbock area salad bar.
Yeah.
And they think Bob Knight fight.
I think you guys overthought that one. I don't think so. Just that was a long time ago.
So was Darvin Ham breaking a backboard.
I know. But I mean
that doesn't mean every time I see a piece of glass doesn't mean I think about it.
But that was, I just that one got me. But I mean, it doesn't take, as we've learned on this show, it doesn't take much to get me on the subtlety of things. I'm not the I don't know, just that. Okay, I get it now. Thank you. That makes sense when you say that. I thought it was going down a different road. All right, you're going to go, okay, why are you bringing this up? Okay, you probably say that to yourself quite a bit. Why are you bringing this up?
Is this about some court case with the NIL?
Well, it is NIL related, okay? BYU basketball has landed, apparently, Baylor guard Robert Wright. He is now committed to BYU. Joe Tipton was the first to report this, okay? Mr. Wright is a 6'1" freshman, and he averaged 11.5 points, 4.2 assists. He had 22 points and six assists against BYU earlier this year. He has not made an informal announcement as of yesterday afternoon. Wright was the number one point guard coming out of Montverde Academy in the 2024 recruiting cycle. Okay, so why is this important? Okay. It's important because there was a statement put out, and now it's not letting me get to it, by BYU on the Twitter. This comes from Elder Clark G. Gilbert, because Robert Wright is expected to receive $3.5 million in name, image, and likeness money. He says this: the church isn't going to weigh in on dollar amounts or recruits, but we will lay out some principles. We can never become a place where the culture is pay to play. We would undermine everything at BYU if that wins out. It's tempting, but if they don't fit the mission, we'd unravel everything. I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm not sure I believe that statement, because clearly they're spending money to get Rob Wright. It's a nice thought, right?
I mean, obviously the BYU culture and organization and everything that they stand for. I'm not saying I've had a strong opinion about this either way. As you know, BYU is one of the teams I kind of feel like I root for a little bit in the Big 12, just because the BYU folks that I've met, I always feel are really nice. But I've always wondered, do all of these athletes really fit what BYU's about?
Sure. Yeah,
or do we just kind of break that mold because they can shoot a ball or they can throw a football?
Right.
I mean, and I would agree some absolutely do, but I'd have a hard time thinking that all of them do. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Not everybody that goes to BYU is Mormon. I would tell you that it's 90-something%. I mean, they made an awful lot to do with the guy that was Jewish that was the quarterback.
And adhere to their standards and all of that.
Yeah, right.
I would guess that not all do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a strong opinion on that. I just feel like that's the way college sports is. You know?
Yeah, right.
And here everybody's trying to win.
Yeah.
And so the NIL is no different to me in that regard. So whether they're bringing in guys that can play for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine they'd be turning too many guys down that were superstars, and they're going, yeah, but you don't fit what we do. I can't imagine that's happening very much.
Well, and I would think on the flip side too, I would think that most players that go into that situation, they look at that and go, wow, that culture is completely different than what I'm used to. I mean, because it's a complete way of life there in Provo versus Ames, Iowa, or here, or.
But is that the case if you're a basketball player or a football player? Or
I don't know, but I'll just say this: I think when you go to Provo, have you been there yet? Have you been to Provo yet?
No.
Okay, so I think when you go to Provo, it's like you'll see, like, because it's a small community, it's a college town, and everything is centered around the church, and it's just I don't know. It just seems like it is a different atmosphere than you get in other Big 12 cities that maybe aren't as fervent about their beliefs. So it makes me. I mean, I'll buy into his statement. I'm not believing that because they're going to pay him because they want to win, and they are winning. But that's more, to me, it would be more along the lines of the players have to buy into that culture because the culture is not going to change. Because that's who they are.
Yeah, I don't know if the culture of the basketball team is the same culture of the city itself.
So
that's easier for a basketball player to fit into.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the church is running the basketball program.
I know, but there does seem to be like we always talk about the Baylor bubble. There seems to be like a BYU bubble too, to a degree. But you're right.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Today is Friday, April the 11th, 2025. With this day in sports history, here is Jeff McGuire.
Gonna start us off in 1959, because Dodger pitcher Don Drysdale hits his second opening day home run.
That's pretty cool for a pitcher.
Drysdale with the home run.
1963, Milwaukee Braves future Baseball Hall of Fame pitcher Warren Spahn beats the New York Mets 6-1 for his 328th victory, most by a left-hander in Major League Baseball history.
How about that?
1989, keep in mind we've been playing hockey for a while. The very first playoff goal scored by a goalie, Ron Hextall of the visiting Philadelphia Flyers shoots into the Washington Capitals' empty net while his team is shorthanded in an 8-5 win. 2004.
His team was shorthanded?
His team was shorthanded.
And he hit
the empty net on the other end. They pulled their goalie to get the extra attacker while they were shorthanded.
Okay.
He gets a stick on the puck and scores at the other end.
All right.
First playoff hockey goal from a goalie. 2004, 68th U.S. Masters Tournament in Augusta National took place. Phil Mickelson claims his first major title with a birdie on the final hole to win by 1 stroke over Ernie Els of South Africa.
I always liked Ernie Els. I didn't have any problem with Phil winning that day, but I always liked Ernie Els. It seemed like a classy guy. I never met him, but just from watching him, and he may be a despicable human being for all I know, but he seemed like a nice guy.
Okay.
And in 2023, the 21st ranked Red Raider baseball team started a 4-0 lead against number 8 Stanford, and the offense kept rolling to an 11-2 victory. Nolan Hester led the team with 3 hits, each being a double, signaling a career high and only the 22nd time in program history the feat was accomplished. It is National Cheese Fondue Day.
Completely out. Jamie, cheese fondue?
I'm fine with it.
You're fine with
I'm
it?
not a huge fondue guy, but
Okay.
I'm definitely not.
Do you have the
completely
little fondue sticks at your house?
Do not.
Okay.
It's also a
You know
national...
why I don't like fondue, right?
Because other people can touch it too?
No, it's because it's all about gathering and talking.
It's also National Poutine Day. It's not dirty, it's just very Canadian.
I don't know what that is.
It's the gravy fry thing that they have in Canada. It's not dirty, it's just very, very Canadian.
Okay.
If you watch Ted Lasso, you would catch that joke.
Yeah.
Jeremy Clarkson, Chuck's driving partner, is 65. Mark Teixeira is 45. And Brett Saberhagen is 61.
I don't know who the...
Jeremy Clarkson is?
Yeah.
You should really watch Top Gear 1 episode, and you will be Jeremy Clarkson.
Top Gear.
Top Gear. And on this day, I'm just going to start this and let Chuck finish it because I won't have to go very far. 1970.
Yeah. On this day, 1970, Apollo 13 lifts off for what would not be the third mission to land on the moon, because 2 days later, there would be an explosion when they, quote, stirred the tanks. Right?
And that is this day in sports history.
I will say that at home, like to turn on the air conditioner. I always tell the lucky lady, hey, I'm going to stir the tank a little bit here. She knows exactly what that means.
Okay.
I'm going to stir the tank.
Means you're trying to blow up the house?
No, I'm just trying to...
Because that's what happened.
I know that's what happened, but I always say I'm going to stir the tank. I'm going to stir the tank here a little bit. Have you turned your air conditioner on yet?
I don't think so. I have not turned it on if it's been on.
Okay. I'm always curious about that because when people do and people don't, because some people are adamant about not turning it on until a certain date or a certain temperature, but we've had ours on.
Never once wondered when other people turn their AC on.
I'm a curious guy, Jamie. I'm sometimes overly curious, about things. Jeff, you turned yours on?
Negative.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Wow. Okay.
Last weekend, I turned my heater back on.
Right, yeah.
But no, I haven't turned the AC back on.
Yeah. Let's see here. A couple things from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. With regard to BYU. The culture changed somewhat when they made it okay to recruit black athletes. At one time, that was not acceptable in the LDS Church. Wow. I do not believe I've heard any of their ethnic recruits taking 2-year mission assignments. Okay. I mean, do all the white people have to take them too? I mean, I don't know. I'm just curious.
I don't think that's the case at all.
Yeah, I don't either. My wife was at United and saw the Bobby Knight food fight live.
Wow.
Oh, man, I missed going to lunch that day at that place.
Oh no, I would not want to. I would not have wanted to have been there. No.
I think I would have wanted to.
No, that would have been awkward.
It would have been awkward, no question. You're like, oh, wow, that kind of escalated quickly. Yeah, no, that was. I mean, somewhere in the vault is a video of that, but we'll never see that.
Is there?
Yeah.
Somebody recorded it?
Well, I mean, I think just the internal cameras of the store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
This from Viva 73. I turned my air conditioner on when it gets hot in the house. No special dates. I turned it on last night, and we'll probably turn it on today, tomorrow, and Sunday. You guys have a great day. Yeah, I'm with you, Viva 73. Yeah, it gets hot in the house.
Seems to makes sense, right? You turn it on when it gets hot.
Right.
It's not about a date. It's about when it gets hot.
Yeah, when it gets hot in the house. Chuck, we never went to the moon. Oh, for God's sake. Are you one of those people?
Oh, look, somebody wants to get blocked today. I hate when that happens.
Just for that?
Yes. Listen, we are the generators of stupid here. Yeah. We don't need the chat line to help with that.
Oh, no, it contributes every day. Masters will continue today. Our guy, Ludwig Ober, is tied for second at -4, Jamie. He'll tee off at 8:58 this morning. He shot a 468 yesterday.
It's good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
He's second after day one. You just want to be in contention.
Be in the hunt, right?
Yeah.
Be in the hunt for.
Probably can't win it on day one, but you can definitely lose it.
yes.
And he's definitely put himself in position to win it. So that's good.
Our resident golfing expert, Choice Woodman, did point out though that he's got a rough stretch here because he was one of the last to start yesterday.
Okay.
Which means he's one of the first to start today.
Okay.
So very quick turnaround, and then the third round is always for how you finished, right? So he's back on the course very early this morning after a late evening.
It means he's still in rhythm.
Yeah,
never got time to get cold,
or never had a chance to rest, as the case may be. From what Choice was saying, you really want to be like middle.
It's just golf.
I'm just telling you what Choice told me. I am not the golf expert. I'm
Choice
what he
says you want to be middle. Okay. Well, the other thing too, though, I think by him teeing off so early this morning, hopefully the weather will be good for him. 8:58. I mean, that seems like a perfect tee time to me. I don't know. Bryson DeChambeau is behind him at -3. Scotty Scheffler is at -4 as well. There's two others at -4. I'll tell you a guy that his playing partner yesterday, Rory McIlroy, he was at -4, and then he blew up on the last 4 holes, and he finished the day even. And then how about 65-year-old Fred Couples? Man, I am rooting for him to make the cut. And he did last year. He's at -1. I've always liked Fred Couples. He was really good back in the day, and he won a Masters, of course.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Morning Drive. Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. All right, I'm not trying to make this to be an excuse, but this is a fact, and I just wanted you to kind of elaborate on it a little bit and kind of give us your thoughts on this. This is baseball related, Tech baseball. And so far, they've played 29 games, okay? The Red Raiders have. 17 of those 29 have been away from home. And according to Warren Nolan, the Red Raiders enter the weekend at 2nd overall in strength of schedule and 6th in the country in non-conference strength of schedule. So entering this weekend, the Red Raiders have played just 3 quad 4 games, take us 2-1, and 13 games against quad 3 and quad 4 teams. Is this a factor in addition to other challenges that you've had, or do you look at this and go, that sounds like an excuse, we've played bad baseball because of whether it's starting pitching or untimely hitting or errors or misplayed balls, or it's just not been our year?
I definitely think it's a factor. I mean, how the quality of the team that you play definitely gives you less or more margin for error. Mm-hmm. Okay, is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Okay, so yes, it's a factor. Do I want to use it as an excuse? Absolutely not. Because, and I hope I'm not coming across too negative here, but I've seen, I've called these games for 13 years, and I've seen the Red Raiders play really good ball, and I've seen them have bad days and play really bad ball, and I've seen them, be a team that have played better than maybe their talent level at times, and beaten really good teams, played up, and I've seen them play down to bad teams. Okay, so we all understand that baseball, more than any other sports, that there's going to be upsets along the way, right? Where you're playing teams that aren't nearly as good as you, but they just have a pitcher that has a big day, or you have a pitcher that has a bad day. The brand of ball that we've seen from the Red Raiders this year has just not been enjoyable. And what I mean by that is, at the beginning of the season, you were losing games because of your defense, okay? And it's painful to lose games because you kick the ball around.
Yeah.
It's painful. You hate seeing it, okay? Just play catch. Just make the routine play. Just make the simple play. That's what we're here to do. Don't expect you to hit a 3-run homer in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs. Those aren't expectations. But we expect you to field a ground ball, make a play, right? That was the beginning of the season. You kind of got past that. All right?
Okay.
So your defense has been solid, really, for about 3/4 of this season.
It hasn't been the problem.
It hasn't been a problem. In the first couple of weeks, it was.
Yeah.
Okay. It's as a fan, I think it's hard to take turning on the TV, going to the ballpark, turning on your radio, whatever, and you're coming out of the first couple, 3 innings, whatever, feeling like you don't have a chance to win.
Yeah.
That makes it not fun, right? For fans, and I think you heard, if you listen to Coach Tadlock talk in the press conference yesterday, he doesn't feel like his team, his offense has handled that well. Meaning they're not, hey, don't focus on the scoreboard right now. Focus on pitch to pitch. Win the next pitch. Let's start chipping away at this thing. We keep playing baseball. We'll get ourselves back into this game. And so I think he's been frustrated that his team, and he's not used the term mentally weak or mentally tough or whatever, but that's kind of what I feel like he's kind of getting at, that his team hasn't battled enough through those tough situations. So your starting pitching a lot has put you in bad spots. And that's it's not fun as a fan to go to watch your team play and to feel like you're always digging out of a hole, right?
Right.
And I don't think it's fun as a player in the dugout to feel the pressure of we're always in a hole, okay? And so add that to the mix. And now add to the mix that there's been games of late, a decent amount, where you've kind of put it together. Okay, we got a decent start here. Hey, we're good. Okay, we're scoring some runs. Hey, we're doing some things. How about last Friday night? Hey, we were way down early, and we still came back and took a lead. And now you have implosion from the bullpen at the end, which is just the biggest kick in the gut.
Yeah.
Right? So you couple those 3 things together, and really the defensive issues have gone away.
Yeah.
Okay? Again, I'm not saying you're the greatest defensive team in the country. You're not full of 9 Ozzie Smiths or anything, but you're fine defensively. It's that you've started out bad so many times, which just takes the edge off. And it takes the feeling of, okay, here, we're at the game, and all right, or if you're a player and you're like, all right, we got this one, and all of a sudden you're like, ugh, here we go again. And he even said that yesterday. He said he felt like there were times where he saw from his team, here we go again. And I just think as a fan, it's hard to watch. I think for the players, it's been difficult. And I think his point is that his team's not been mentally tough enough to fight through that, to just, hey, worry about the next pitch, okay? Keep playing baseball. And I think he feels like his team's not done that enough. And I think that shows in the results, right? Yeah. So, and that's why I say it's just not a fun brand of baseball right now.
Yeah, it's funny. I think you bring up a great point with regard to the because just like the other day, I missed the start of the New Mexico game, and I kind of flipped on. And
you were lucky.
Yeah, and I flipped on, and I just kind of went,
And then you went, no reason to listen, right?
Yeah.
No reason to listen to this.
Yeah, or
if you're a fan at home, you're like, no reason to watch this. I'll check back in and see if it comes back around, right? Mm-hmm. And the worry is that the players, there's only so much of it that they can take, right?
Because if I'm doing it, then certainly others are.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's got to. It's hard. It would be hard for anybody, right? Mm-hmm. Any player. To say this particular team is not as mentally tough or whatever. If it's 2, you're like, okay, we can get back into this thing. But 7 at the end of the first, you're like, oh man. 7-1 at the end of the third, you're like, oh gosh, right?
Yeah.
You those leads that I rattled off to you yesterday or the day before, the 5-0s and the 5-1s and the 7-1s and the 7-0s. I mean, those are large deficits to try to overcome, and so it's just you gotta find a way. And again, you're not asking for your starting pitching to be, lights out. You're just asking for them to give you a chance, get to the middle of the game with you in the game, and just too many times. And at the beginning of the season, too many times it was about the defense hurting those starting pitchers.
Yeah.
And now you just haven't had. There have been some injuries in the mix, right, that have factored in. I mean, you lost Perko, who was in your rotation. You lost Burns, who started the weekend in the rotation. We haven't seen him since then because he's been sick. And so those things have factored in. Siebert struggled. You moved into the bullpen. He's been awesome. But Perko's coming back, so hopefully that will help. And then Matt Hewers, he needed a week off, and then last week just wasn't sharp at all. So I don't know. Hopefully,
and then Parker Hutera, we're assuming that he's hurt, right?
As to what we were talking about with the implosions in the bullpen, that would have changed that series at Kansas State. That would have changed that series against Cincinnati. It would have made a huge difference. But again, there's so many other instances where you had a chance to be better and you weren't.
Yeah.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Okay, so I am going to. This is a pretty simple question, I think. We're going to talk Big 12 football here. Pretty simple question. Okay.
Okay.
And, Chuck, we talked about this yesterday, about the fact that you have been pretty clear in that you feel like Texas Tech football next year, like the expectations have to be playing the Big 12 championship game, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so just my simple question for you today is, I'm going to give you 2 teams. Who are the 2 teams that you think are heading into the season should be the favorites to play in the Big 12 championship game?
Aside from Texas Tech or including Texas Tech?
It can be Texas Tech or not.
Okay. I do agree with some of the discussion that's gone on, whether it's Clint and Mike with regard to this, and you and Choice and others, that there could be a situation where you're 8-1 in the Big 12, and there's 2 other teams that are 8-1, and you don't make it to the Big 12 championship game. I don't think that makes it a quote failure season. Okay.
Sure. If you're 8-1 in conference play, we're not nobody's calling it a failure.
No, not at all. Not at all. So I think most definitely with the amount of money that you've spent and with where you're ranked in the transfer portal, and it seems like if there's been a player out there that you've wanted from a coaching staff situation, your support team has gone and gotten it. I mean, look at David Bailey from Stanford. I mean, and others. So I definitely think Texas Tech is one. And I think another contender for that is going to be BYU, just because they've always been there. I think they're a pretty good football team.
Because they've always been there. They went there last year.
No, I know, but I mean, being a contender, and whether it's the conference that they're in or as an independent, that's probably shouldn't say that they've always been there, because they've not always been there. That's a stupid statement. But
what is it with you and crazy statements about BYU?
I don't know. So
if you were betting today, you're betting BYU and Texas Tech at the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's what you're betting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll just bet that.
I like it. A rematch. A regular season game between the two teams.
I'm like, wait, I was lost for a minute. Yeah. I don't know that I disagree with Chuck on Tech with the amount of money that you spent. However, the results have to be on the field first. And you've spent the money for the expectations, but you've still got to climb a pretty big mountain to get from where you were to where you want to be there. And I'm not ready to make that jump yet. I'm going Kansas State and Iowa State. Kansas State has just been the model of consistency in this conference. And Iowa State pulled it all together last year after you played them. And they've lost a little, but they still look really, really good. So I'm going with those two.
Iowa State and Kansas State. All right. I am taking one team from each of you two. I'm taking Iowa State and I'm taking BYU. If I was to bet today, looking at what they bring back, who they were last year, all the above, I still, although I think it's fair that you have bought your way into the expectation of feeling like you should be there. Mm-hmm. And maybe this is just a Red Raider fan that's, scarred a little bit over the years.
I have ones that look like this before. I know what they feel like.
I still worry you're going to come up a little bit short.
Yeah.
So I think if I'm in Ames, Iowa, and I'm looking at the Red Raiders, they're probably like, yeah, they went and got every guy they could this year, but let's see if they actually do something with it. Because they never, right?
I think that's fair.
They're probably going, we always hear about Texas Tech. We hear about them a lot. Okay? And so I just think I'm Iowa State and BYU. That would be who I would bet my money on is going to be there.
Mm-hmm. I would feel so much better about your situation if your quarterback was out there practicing right now, not fielding balls from receivers to give to the other quarterbacks.
Well, at least he's working on his patch catching skills when we do that double quarterback throwback, right?
I guess so. I asked one person who I would consider knowledgeable and with a reasonable opinion if he was worried about that, and he said no. I said, okay. Well, I said,
but it's not a reasonable enough opinion for you to change your mind.
No.
Okay.
No, but I mean,
I'm just
Jeff.
asking.
I mean, I'm a relatively stubborn person.
What?
Right? I'm a relatively stubborn person.
I don't find that to be true at all.
Can we just subtract a word from there?
Relatively.
Yeah.
It takes me, stumbling a couple of times to change my mind.
Literally stumbling a couple of times?
Yeah. Whether over my mouth or my feet, So
are you announcing something right now?
No. I mean, you feel like you can feel free. I mean,
the show behind the show, folks.
Emphasis on stubborn. Yeah.
Have we just seen the end of slides?
I've seen the end of slides.
It's a red letter day.
I'm giving up. I'm
so excited.
Bullfighter
My little boy is growing up right in front of us.
Bullfighter says, speaking of stumbling, how's your face? My face is fine. It's my elbow that's
don't ask
not.
About his elbow. You missed round 2, bullfighter.
That's as surprising as finding out Chuck likes Spoets. I don't know what that means.
Spoets?
SPOE.
But that's supposed to be sports.
Sports. Oh, I love
think it was
sports.
a typo.
Okay.
That's a guess from Bullfighter. Not from Bullfighter, from that user. Bullfighter's the one that afterwards asking about your face.
Yeah. No, I know. Sports. Oh, thank you. Sports. Yeah. Just like you stumbled to the Lady Raider bus. LOL. Yeah, I did. I stumbled to the Lady Raider bus. I sure did. I fell flat on my face. Thank God there was a trainer there that wasn't attending to injured players.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. If you refuse to wear anything burnt orange or maroon, you've come to the right place. The home for Red Raider sports is right here on Double T 97.3.
8:02 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Come to you from the First United Bank studio. Blessed to have you comment on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Visual Edge IT hotline, it is open too at 806-771-0973. Do we have room to include the color purple in that? Because you hate TCU. Mm-hmm. And you have declared them our biggest hate rival in the Big 12 now.
I have, but I think if you're gonna pull 100 people out here at the corner that are Texas Tech fans, that schools they hate the most and have hated the longest have been Texas and Texas A&M.
Sure, yeah, no question. Don't disagree with that at all. Just was lobbying for the color purple to be included in that.
Yeah, don't say it, Jeff. Just don't say it. Just don't say it.
Oh, you're going to say that I'm using the TCU hate to get the color purple in because I have a high dislike for Kansas State, which happens to have the color purple as well. You could kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. Or a toad and a wildcat. Okay, we'll move along. 8:03 this morning here on the Morning Drive. We'll have Red Raider baseball for you on the air today. We'll also have Friendship baseball on the air for you today. A double dip coming to you from the Permian Panthers place. That'll begin at 4:30 on Sunny 97.7. And then we'll have Astros baseball tonight on 100.7 The Score. 6:40 they take on the Angels tonight in Houston. 7:10 or so, first pitch, 6:40 Astro launch. And then after the Red Raider game, we'll have the Rangers and the Mariners from Seattle. Texas Tech and Baylor play at 6 tonight. Warm-up show, and then first pitch just after 6:30. Here is Coach Tim Tadlock. He was asked yesterday about the main issues that he is dealing with his baseball team.
I mean, most recently, you're dealing with guys being present. Most recently, we've had games where throughout the season, we've pitched good, maybe not played good defense. We've had games where we've maybe swung the bat good and maybe didn't pitch good. And here lately, it's been more than anything, I think it's just what he asked. It's playing the game throughout the 9 innings, no matter what the scoreboard says, and giving yourself a chance, at the end of the game to execute and do the things you got to do to win or within the game. And so, to me, it's very much like at any time. I think you're fighting, and when I'm saying fighting, always if there's negatives, and then maybe it's the same negative, maybe guys' minds go to where, here we go again, instead of, hey man, I need to just go play baseball and play the pitch in front of me. So that's probably the biggest challenge.
So in addition to the actual performance skills, whether it's hitting, pitching, fielding, etc., he came all but within just right there of saying there's a mental aspect too with his baseball team that they're dealing with.
I think he's had teams before that were better at, coming back from deficits, continuing to compete every at bat. even when you were down, whatever, and you might not come back ultimately, but you wouldn't see the approach change. And I think specifically in the New Mexico game, I think he was a little frustrated about maybe some at-bats that he felt like guys were kind of mailing it in a little bit, which, again, I completely agree with what Coach Tadlock is saying. At the same time, you put me in that situation, and I think put many of us in that situation where you feel like over and over again you're just trying to dig your way out of a hole so many times. I think it's worn on them a little bit.
You talked, I think, at times last year, and I'm not going to say throughout the whole season, but correct me if I'm wrong. You talked at times last year about not battling at the plate. Is there a carryover from some of that last year to this year, or is it different players, different situations, different times, or is there a carryover from some of that from last year to this year?
I don't think there's really a carryover. I mean, I'm sure it's some of the same players, but I just think it's really depends on the person. Mm-hmm. On the person, and some of those guys are new guys, and some of those guys that came back from last year.
Yeah. And some of this is just the beat down of.
Some of it is the talent that you're used to having here at Texas Tech. Okay, they're better at those things. That's what makes them great players. Mm-hmm. That they still get a lot of hits with 2 strikes. Okay, even when they're down in the count. That they're still able to get hits when you're losing because they're still good hitters, right? And if you're not as talented, then you see the other things, which makes, again, the margin for for wins, the difference between wins and losses is so small now because you're not as talented, and you gotta play closer to, I don't want to say perfect baseball, but you've got to play better, to your ability every time because it's just a small margin there, and you haven't been able to do that enough. And Coach Tadlock's absolutely right with what he said at the beginning there about, and this is where you feel like, man, this team, they just can't. It's like there have been games where you didn't pitch well and you couldn't hit, and then there are games where you've pitched well and you couldn't get offense, and then there are games where you did some of both and it was defense. It's just that's the finding ways to beat yourself kind of stuff. Finding ways to not get it done. There are times where you have a team that expects to win and stays confident the whole time, and this team just has never, it felt like, ever got a grasp of confidence. And I don't know if the tough schedule had something to do with it, if the missing out on some of those midweek games early to kind of get guys going and feeling good about things really hurt this team. But ultimately, you would think by now you could have worked through those things, right?
Yeah.
And it takes the specific guys, whatever you want to say, doing their job and getting past it. And, not enough of them have been able to do that.
8:10 this morning here on the Morning Drive. We'll have Red Raider Baseball on the air at 6. First pitch just after 6:30 tonight from Dan Law Field at Rip Griffin Park.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.